Hey everybody, it's Dr. Rimka coming to you live from my house in Atlanta. I am awake right now, unfortunately, because of I just got back from Thailand yesterday and the fireworks, despite my best attempts at engineering our food and our supplements so we would fall asleep around 6:37, which we did, and we were gonna sleep really great. And massive explosions went off, around midnight and later, and we were up till about 7 o'clock this morning. So I'm still on Thailand time totally since I slept till 4 o'clock this afternoon. So I'm jacked. Oh well. So I'll do a live even if who knows who's watching, a couple of you down there. So I've been replying with people now that I'm on this time zone. I could talk to quite a few people about the 5-day water fast I'm going to do tomorrow. So it's interesting, again, how much emotion comes up around food and how much emotion comes up around not eating and the panic or stress that some people can have. And I wouldn't say I've been attacked, but there's been some definite, of certain people saying things, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot how much of this goes on. So let me just tell you a couple things. So kind of say this, so Dr. Pampa, who is one of the doctors who I train under and go to his seminars and offer some of his formulas to people, the True Cellular Detox being one of them. If you go to my detoxification page on my website, if you just go to the home page, there's a button that says detoxification, click on it, it'll explain it. It's a whole cellular repair program we offer that is supplement based, but it deals with real cellular repair at the membrane level. If any of you are familiar with Dr. Bruce Lipton and biology of belief and what he has discovered about the cell membrane, that really is more the brain of the cell. The nucleus is not. That's all just old science. So anyway, so I've been doing a lot of that stuff for years, and diet variation, ketosis, fasting are all a part of stuff he teaches. I, however, been doing that for, I don't know, probably 20 years, I'll say. So I graduated chiropractic school when 2000, so it's 4 years. So I was in school, right, 96 to 2000, getting my doctorate. And when you're in chiropractic school, you're flooded with natural living and all these things. And so everybody is doing the master cleanse or a juice fast or fasting. Everyone's trying a vegetarian diet or vegan. I mean, we do everything, and you're exposed to all these different camps that are basically trying to brainwash you into their propaganda, to their thing. And I love jumping into anything and really experiencing it. So I can say, I tried this technique, I tried that technique, I tried this, I've tried it, I've done it. And if it was successful on my body, it doesn't mean it's always successful. And if it didn't work on my body, it doesn't mean it wasn't successful. So I would try things knowing that even if it worked for me, it didn't mean it was bad, okay? So a certain book kind of changed my life. It was Paul Bragg, The Miracle of Fasting. And he didn't get into all the science of it by any means. It was more just following the principles of ancient cultures and natural hygiene. So I had a professor who was well versed in the principles of natural hygiene. He was a natural hygienist. So I loved what he taught, and I loved the idea of just following nature and how did people really do things. What was the hygiene that ancient civilizations that everybody's been doing a long time before we had books and telling you this and combine this and don't do this, and eating doesn't need to be a damn textbook to come with it. Like, no animal on earth needs an instruction manual to know how to eat, okay? But they haven't totally perverted their food landscape the way we have. And so now it's become complicated because we made it as such, okay? But if you just look at what people are eating in natural cultures where everything's not being shipped in or grown hydroponically or genetically modified or put in a box or a can and all this other stuff to it, they just eat what's around them in the natural environment. And when there's a lot of it, they eat. When there's not, because in nature there's going to be less things at times based upon the climate, they eat less. So there was a natural feast and famine cycle throughout the months and throughout the year. And we have that naturally throughout the day. We eat during the day and we sleep all night when we famine. So we feast and then we famine. We have these long fast periods, why it's called breakfast, break fast, because you are fasting, okay? So that book, the Paul Bragg Miracle of Fasting, I believe it's called, really, really, really old. It's very, very simple, but I loved it. It changed my life, so I started fasting. 22 years ago or something. And I started slow and easy, okay? Let me say this, water fasting, pure water fasting is the strongest detox mechanism you're ever gonna do. So there is no other fasting, there's no other detox mechanism. There's the raw cleanse and the lemon water cleanse, the master cleanse, the hot this cleanse, a juice cleanse, a bone broth cleanse, a blah, blah, blah. Nothing is faster and deeper than just pure water. So saying that, faster and deeper is not always better, okay? You all don't need to go fast and deep. Got to remember that. Too much detox, too fast, causes auto-intoxication. If your bodily systems cannot clear out how much junk you're releasing, it can be uncomfortable, okay? So I'm not saying everybody has to do water fasting, but we're just kind of laying the groundwork and explaining that that's what it is. So if somebody's really toxic and really sick and a lot of metabolic disorders and very overweight, it may not be the place I start them. I also never start my people with eating disorders on straight water fasting. This can be emotionally and psychologically very stressful and traumatic for those people. So you have to do phases of how you do things. So I certainly did many phases of things that I won't do today, but it was 20 some years ago, and I was learning how to do it and easing myself into the concept of not eating food for many days. Because like most of you, psychologically, I was told you got to eat all the time and keep up your energy, and food is energy, and blah, 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 right? A lot of things that Americans are taught, and we're incredibly unhealthy, had incredible metabolic problems, hormone disruptions, obesity and diabetes are at epidemic proportions now from how frequently we eat. By the way, how frequent you eat and the time of day you eat is even more important to me than what you're eating, okay? Because people can get away with some bad dietary choices by eating only once or twice a day. And you can eat pretty healthy things, and if you're eating 6, 7, 8 times a day, you could be jacking yourself up even more. But it's a whole hormone story we can get into later. So you'll see, I'll put the link on this. I couldn't do it as I was setting it up. But Dr. Pompa is kind of motivated people to be like, hey, let's start off a 5-day water fast, January 2nd, to reset things, okay? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back to doing some more of this water fasting. I used to do a ton of it, and I followed the Bragg method of 1 day a week. I would do a 24 to 48 hours. So I think I picked something like Tuesday to Thursday, middle of my week easy, because I was bartending all through grad school. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was in the middle of Buckhead, clubbing it and loud music and pouring drinks and all this food and all this stuff. So I chose, it's stressful for me, so I don't want to be not eating then, right? So I didn't always do it then. So I do the middle of the week, I did 1 day a week like that. And then every month I would add in a weekend, typically like Thursday to Sunday. So I do 3 to 4 days. I wouldn't eat anything but water. And then every quarter, so every change of the season, I would add a longer one, 7 to 10 days. I think I started maybe at 5 at first, then would go 5 to 10 days. And it was just also listening to my body, because after the first 3 days, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sneeze, guys. Maybe. Okay, psych. After the first 3 days, seriously, you're not hungry at all. There were times after I did this so much, in a day I wasn't hungry. I knew, and so I just wasn't even hungry. The more kind of disordered or hormone signaling problems, you will be like, oh, hungry, because your cells are really inflexible. That means they don't know how to eat anything but glucose, because you shove so much glucose down your gullet all day long, all the time, starting with your orange juice and your oatmeal and your fruits and your smoothies and your bread and your French toast and your pancakes, and I need a snack. Let me get a granola bar. Let me have a Kind bar. Let me have a this. Let me get a Cliff bar, and it's healthy. It's sugar, 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 sugar. So your cells can eat glucose or fat, basically sugar or fat, glucose or ketone bodies. So if they get glucose all the time, they eventually lose their ability to eat the fat. They just don't even know what to do with it. They're like, all the little doors have basically clogged up with sticky sugar and shut down. So the fat struggles to get in. But you have these two amazing energy sources. But if you eat sugar all the time, it's going to be the one that gets used first. And it's sugar in the body, you know, it's good energy. Glucose is fine. It's like paper and firewood in a fireplace, right? A little kindling and paper burns really, really fast, explosive heat, but then it's done and it's very dirty, puts off a lot of ash in your fireplace. Fat is more like the really dry log that you put in there that you're trying to get to catch fire. That then burns for a really long time, gives off a lot of light and heat, and it gives off very little ash all over the place. Ideally, you should be burning fat most of the time. So when you see all these ripped athletes and people that have banging bodies and high energy, and the people that forget to eat, that literally post, oh God, did I eat today? I'm like, oh, I forgot to eat. And then other people get really mad at them. They're like, who the hell forgets to eat? Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God. And they get all hangry all the time. People who forget to eat are just burning fat all the time. I forget to eat a lot. And sometimes, and when I don't, when I get that little hangry thing, I know it's a signal like I'm metabolically deranged a little bit. I've been eating too many carbs, right? So they're not like magical people. They just have trained their bodies to be really, really flexible. Their cells are really flexible. So that's kind of, water fasting, again, does a number of things as far as detox. I was doing it mostly for emotional and spiritual growth and to follow natural principles. I didn't even know what I was doing as far as a couple big things with really resetting your body. Basically, you're doing a massive renovation, but it takes after the third day. If you're only doing, when you're first starting, you're doing a day, you're doing 2 days and 3 days, that's all good. You want to build yourself up. It's like training for a marathon. And all the training matters. You are getting better, but you really want to go for like 5 days. That's really a magic number, and it seems to be enough. It seems like you don't really need to go to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You don't really have to do that to get the benefits of autophagy, apoptosis, and stem cell regeneration. And there's more that goes on with glucose, insulin, glucagon, the way the receptors are in your body. So quick little physiology lesson. When you eat all the time, glucose goes up and insulin goes up, okay? When those go up, they're high, your glucagon goes down, okay? So you got, these two things are high, this is low. This thing here, this glucagon, only goes high when you stop eating. It takes calorie restriction for it to go high, and as soon as food comes in, boom, it crashes. Why is glucagon so magical? Glucagon tells the cells to get rid of all the old crappy stuff. So we're running around with like broken down, beat up cars and like requiring so much maintenance, and they're supposed to recycle themselves. The cell is supposed to like, oh God, this carburetor sucks, throw it out, make a new one. So autophagy is going in and taking which parts of the cells are broken and disordered and chaotic. That is very important, okay? You want your cells to go through autophagy. It's a normal cellular process that is supposed to be happening all the time. But when you eat all the time, your glucagon is constantly suppressed because your glucose and insulin are super high all the time. And then it is not doing it as much as it's supposed to be. So we've changed how frequently we eat. And so autophagy isn't happening as much as it's supposed to be. So your body isn't doing the normal cellular repair of finding all the damaged parts, cell membrane damaged parts, broken down mitochondria, broken down DNA. You want your body to throw that crap out, right? And then the other thing is this thing called apoptosis. And that's this other magical thing the cells know how to do. They just know how to automatically die. They're like, oh shit, we are old. It's time to go, boo. It's kind of like that Star Trek episode where people were like 17 and they had to kill themselves in that little vat. It's kind of like you want the cells to know, gotta go. I'm supposed to live 3 days. I'm supposed to live 7 years. I'm supposed to live 6 months. Okay, you want them to know that and do it. And water fasting is one of the best ways to jumpstart those processes back in place, okay? It has been a normal thing, again, a part of cultures. This is why every spiritual text talks about fasting and not eating. So it's a way to dump old, broken down cellular parts. It's a way that the cells can know, like, oh, I'm supposed to, like, they get to reorient themselves. Like, wait a minute, I should die. This is not good, right? The ultimate, like, two big diseases that are kind of the ultimate representation of autophagy and apoptosis not happening and it being really disordered are Alzheimer's disease and cancer. Okay, those are really these major primary disorders of this process not happening as it's supposed to. So if you want to start reversing that, preventing that, whatever, and you live, you know, we live in an abundant society, foods of all around all the time, water fasting is a way you can start to get this going, right? Because again, we're taking the glucose and insulin and knocking it down and popping up that glucagon. This is how they work. The body has all coupled relationships. Everything is a coupled relationship in the body. Copper, zinc, calcium, magnesium, glucose, insulin, glucagon, whatever, like everything. Okay, so those are high when you eat and this is low. You have to stop eating to get this to go down and this to go up. Okay? How long does autophagy take? It takes, you got it for water fasting, David, to kick up autophagy in the body in a major way. It takes after that third day. So the fourth and fifth day is when you're getting this massive change in autophagy and a massive change in what it's doing in the cells and helping repair mitochondria in particular. So you really take the fourth or fifth day to knock it in. Science has shown that. See, back when I read Miracle of Fasting, Paul Bragg, he didn't know all this science. So some of the best science, I think, written in a really easy way for people is Dr. Jason Fung, F-U-N-G. He's a physician in Canada. And I think Toronto, yeah. So he's a nephrologist, so he specializes in the kidneys, and people with diabetes and metabolic syndromes are highly susceptible to losing their kidneys and other things. There's a lot of kidney and pancreas issues with them. I think he's a nephrologist, but he is a specialist in metabolic syndromes, diabetes, and everything in that classification, PCOS, and one of his primary tool, the strongest tool he knows to use now, is fasting. And again, supplementation is important when you're going through some of these things and other things, and we can get into that later. So that's why I'm doing it again. And so that you have this autophagy, apoptosis we talked about. Obviously, I've already talked about a little bit of hormones, glucose and insulin. This stuff being high, that's metabolic syndrome. That's diabetes. That is polycystic ovarian syndrome. People don't realize PCOS. All these women have it. It is a blood sugar problem. Right? Like, oh, why do I have this? I had one rupture and went to an ER, and I was like, what? So, I was like, oh, snap. So my glucose and my insulin were like perfect, right? But then that was my come to Jesus moment in the Emory emergency room with ultrasounds telling me that's what it was, not appendicitis. That I had to come home and like, I got to change this up. So I got into ketosis, eating very, very strong, and brought my glucagon up and started restructuring my entire body, started changing my DNA, started making myself younger, by the way. So when you're young, you do autophagy and apoptosis very efficiently. The older we get, we don't. That's why we get all crusty. That's why you get lines, because the skin suddenly is like, it doesn't do it, right? Yes, that's him, Fung. So, thank you, David, for the links. You're so sweet, because it saves me time. That's David Bay. I don't know if any of y'all I don't know if he's even still doing it. He's a business coach, and he helped me once in one meeting. He like quadrupled my income. It was awesome. And I tried to hire him, and this fool went and moved to Thailand for 3 years. So I never really got to have him totally, but David is really good. So he's down there. What else? So, the next thing is what we know now is that you increase your stem cells like crazy doing it. And it is in that fourth and fifth day. So what the hell are stem cells, right? So some of you know, like, or whatever, I have this low back problem, injury, and all these drama I've been going through for 2 years trying to fix my back because the mold is eating it. Yay, mold! love life. I love the experiences. Side note, I had zero pain in Thailand in my back. I'm back in America and it hurts all day. Don't get me started. So, after this, I'm going to go on my ice compression machine and I'm going to pray to the sleep gods that I can finally go sleep. But I'm wired because it's, you know, Thailand time. Okay, so stem cells. Stem cells are the things we make in our body that don't become anything yet, right? They're the beginning cells that like, look, we can become anything we want to become. I can become a liver, I can become an eye, this and that. And our body goes through this really amazing process of telling it what to do to become whatever it needs to become. This is why stem cell injections are so hugely popular over in Asia and Cuba and other places that allow it. America's, you know, sitting around debating all this stuff forever, and they're curing people left and right of blindness. That's a huge one. You got an eye issue, look into stem cells. MS, all kinds of things. So I have friends that have been to China and Panama, and the story for their children and the stories they tell me, it's crazy. So I've been looking into getting stem cell injections in my low back to help regenerate, help my body regenerate. So when you inject them, they know they go and travel to the damaged parts of your body and then become that thing. They're like, oh, her discs are jacked. Let's become a disc. Oh, look, the kidney sucks. Let's become a kidney. You know, it's brilliant. Well, we make our own all the time too. And ideally, we're trying to, you know, stimulate how can we make our bodies make our own stem cells. So what some of the processes and clinics here are doing are like pulling out your blood and spinning it down and trying to get stem cells. I'm not sold on any of the US places yet. I've been researching, and any of the research I've come up with and the physicians I've talked to, none of them are, oops, sorry guys, are like super impressed. So I'm scared to get it, and for the thousands and thousands of dollars I'd have to do. Well, fasting, water fasting, real fasting. I don't consider anything else that's not water fasting, fasting, by the way, because everything else you're still putting calories in. It stimulates the stem cell production. It increases it dramatically. So I'm like, oh, duh. I could just not eat for a few days and increase my own stem cells, which are even more intelligent. They'll know, like, this is where we need to go. But it does come from calorie restriction, and it comes in that 4th and 5th day. The first few days of the water fast is when you can go through a little bit of discomfort. It's been a really long time since I first did this, so I'm sure I had some discomfort. I don't remember. I have a tendency to not remember really painful stuff in my life. So if we dated, I'm usually just like unicorns and butterflies and thinking everything was so great. And my friends are usually like, you don't remember how bad it was? I'm like, no, it wasn't bad. It was just lovely, you know. So good news for if you cross me, I'll probably remember it all lovely later. Usually. Every now and then, I'll come in to get you, or I just want to talk to you. So let's see. So I don't remember it being that bad. But again, I was in my 20s and thin, and I didn't drink coffee back then. I started drinking coffee like when I was 41, so like 4 years ago. So I think what most people go through is that coffee withdrawal, and that I think is probably the bigger problem. I am gonna go through a little bit of that. All the fasting I've done since becoming a mother, so that was 12 years ago. All the fasting I've done, and I have done water fasting. I've done different juice cleanses. I hate juice cleansing. I will just say that personally, I've done, I don't know, 20 or 30 5-day or longer fresh juice. Ugh. I'm freezing the whole time. I find it annoying to have to keep drinking that much. My blood sugar is always too high. I'm freezing usually. I just think, oh, it'd be so much easier to just do water. So, but I try everything. And I had a patient that paid me that way, so I did a lot of them. I mean, it was a lot. So, oh yeah, stem cell, Asia, big time. Panama also now is, they have it perfected. Let me tell you what the stem cells, I don't want to go to somewhere that's just trying it out. Asia knows what they're doing. Okay, so don't believe the propaganda that they all are stupid, because they're not. America presents a very bizarre picture of other countries. And Cuba's medical healthcare is awesome. So, I mean, it's crazy. So anyway, as side notes if people are talking. So anyway, the first 3 days, usually that's when you're going to have some symptoms. The 4th and 5th day, you're going to feel great. And depending on where you are in your healing, you might have some up and downs. Again, I've never gone more than 11 days. I wasn't hungry. I was just totally bored out of my mind and needed to chew something. I'm like, I need like a cashew or something in my mouth because I'm just bored. And you'd be surprised, you'll notice how much you put stuff in your mouth. Like people be chewing on straws and all that kind of stuff. So Edward, you're asking, do we fast with plain water or with maple syrup and cayenne pepper? So this is a straight water fast. Again, that is a real fast. The maple syrup and cayenne pepper fasting cleanse thing, it's called the master cleanse. It's not called the master fast, it's called the master cleanse because you're having a lot of calories. I've done the master cleanse probably 15, 20 times, I don't know, a lot. Way back in chiropractic school, I love that, how that feels, because it's just easy. You're never hungry. The cayenne pepper keeps you never hungry, makes you warm, and then that maple syrup and lemon, you know, tastes delicious. So, but you're not getting the same effects because remember, insulin and glucose are always going up on that with the syrup, and your glucagon's going down. So there are all kinds of cleansing, wonderful things that are happening in your body. I'm not saying there's not benefits to that much alkalizing fluid getting in your system and not eating that much calories. It's still tremendous calorie restriction, but you are not going to have this happen the same way unless you do plain water, period. That's just how that is. That's just the science of what the body's doing. So you're not going to get that same autophagy, apoptosis, and stem cell burst. I did it many, many times, and I really love the Master Cleanse. I think that's a good way for people to start. So if the idea of water fasting is like freaking you out, don't do it. So this is just to let people know. If people are like, oh, I don't think I can handle it. Oh my God, I can't eat. Like, relax. You don't need to do anything. And maybe this is just to let you know it exists. Get the Paul Bragg book, get a Jason Fung book, read about it, and understand your body does not need to eat all the time. I am a thin person, technically, to people, right? Like, they think I'm thin. I cannot eat for 2-3 weeks easy with zero negative impact, no damage to my body whatsoever. 4 or 5 weeks, getting, usually 40 days is about the time. After that 40 days is where most people, there could start to be some permanent damage where my body's like, look, I'm really running out of fat stores and I'm going to have to do something with these organs, like, because I need some energy. Most of us have plenty of fat. I've seen guys on 3-4% body fat. They can go weeks without eating. The body knows what to do. It's not going to start eating you alive, right? Do you restrict certain activities? So that really depends on you. Again, I set myself up in the beginning to succeed. So I didn't plan it on the weekends when I was bartending in a Buckhead, in a nightclub in Buckhead, right? Like, why would I do that? It's a constant food and drinks in front of me. So I set it up so I would be successful. Once I got the hang of it, I had zero negative impacts. I wasn't fatigued. I didn't have any headaches. In fact, I had more energy than ever because I didn't have to cook, shop, eat. And did I say shop? I hate shopping. You don't have to do anything. You have so much time on your hands. It's crazy. You get so much more energy, and it's just cooking and eating in restaurants. It's really it's a major time suck, and you'll see how much time and money you can save by doing this. So it's up to you about what you think. Again, I worked out. I did everything the same way. I didn't have a problem. But again, you listen to your body. I know some people are going through right now and major headaches. This might be pretty hard for me. I just went over 12 time zones, 24 hours of flying, and my sleep is really jacked. My body's a little bit stressed to begin with. It's already starting to purge. My skin is weird. I've got some cysts. My skin is the first thing for me that will have a reaction when it's physically or emotionally stressed out. And the skin is a detoxification area. It's one of the last ones. You got your lungs, your skin, your colon, your kidneys. These systems, your lymphatic system, they have to be flowing to get stuff out. I will back up around my skin. I will have things purge that way. So I could see a major increase in some outbreaks over the next few days. I do drink coffee, so I do have caffeine, and I'll probably have some withdrawal. So if I was eating and I didn't have coffee for the next 2 days, I would get a headache. I'm going to, period. So I might get a little bit of caffeine headache. So body aches and pains can come up. Some people can go through a little bit of fevers and all that. I think I went through some of those years ago. And I'm older and I haven't been doing this as much. I've been going through many cycles of ketosis and intermittent fasting, meaning like not eating for 15 to 18 hours on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Like I just eat one meal a day. Like if I only eat at 6 o'clock at night, well then I've gone through like this 20-hour, 22-hour fast anyway. Sometimes I eat twice a day, so it's only a 12-hour, 15-hour fast. But in general, intermittent fasting, if somebody is already doing 15 to 18-hour breaks between when they eat, water fasting is usually pretty easy because they're already really keto adapted, meaning their body already knows how to use fat a lot. So even when I'm not eating a ketogenic diet, as people will say these popular terms, I'm not eating ketogenic right now. I'm probably going to start again, but it's not the best diet for my body right now. But I test my body, I test my bacterial flora to know what kind of metabolism my body, is in, and what do the bugs need, and it gives me feedback as to what I'm doing. So I've done keto before and it was like, didn't go well. Like I was just gaining weight. I'm like, what is happening? I'm doing this perfectly and my numbers are terrible. And now I understand the science behind why. So you have different rhythms your body goes through, and you should not be eating in January what you eat in June. And you should not be eating at 45 what you eat when you're 12. Like it is different. So you can, I just try to respect that. So, as far as, David, what you do, the activity is really up to you. I think putting in some more rest and recovery time and quiet time could be good. But then some people need to be busy, like they don't want to, you don't want to be sitting around too much. I think it's probably definitely hard for parents, harder. Like I haven't, done straight water, I don't think, for 5 days with my son. I've done some weird things, butter fasting, all sort of stuff, but, yes, hi Buffy, and I'm so glad you just did it. So like somebody's right on there and she just did she broke a 6 or 7 day, and can say that like it's really a tremendous way to heal the body, and you usually feel better than you ever felt once you get through some pain. But again, how do you think you're going to heal anything if you don't go through some discomfort? You've been in discomfort and pain. Most of you are in a lot of discomfort and pain in many physical and emotional ways. So not only does this dump the autophagy hits the broken down cellular parts, and the apoptosis kills cells that need to die, that are forgotten. You need to die. Get out of here. They're holding on emotional energy and frequency as well. And you drop all that emotional shit at the same time. It's really, really cool. So it's a purging in many, many ways. And that's where the, spiritual aspect where people have come in, and the emotional balancing has come in. So, that's why I'm doing it. And I'm going to put the link in. Again, this is run by Pampa, and you can join his group and all that. Just reading Edward's thing. You can run in his group to follow it. So he said he did a fast for 10 days a few years ago, and he started hallucinating and all this stuff. So then that was too long. So typically once you hit the 4th and 5th day, you're not going to be hungry. Right? 4th, 5th, and 6th day, your ketones are really up. You're going to have a lot of good energy. Your cells now know where to get that energy. They're flooding the brain. You've got a lot of clean fuel. It's like, okay, I got this. Everyone's like, oh, we know what this is. Let's do it. That usually feels really good. So then some people know, like when you're experienced with it, you might get the signal on the 8th day where you do get hungry. You're like, oh, I'm hungry. Like that's unusual. That's usually when you're starting to get hungry, it's the sign you should eat. Some people are like at day 22, they're like, I'm not hungry. I'm good. I can do this forever. Right? And then it's kind of like day 28 and like, ooh, I'm starting to feel hungry. Boom. That's it. Listen to your body. It's time to eat. You have to start, and you slowly break it. And again, Dr. Pampa's going to go over all this stuff and how you do this. But there are whole clinics in Costa Rica and Mexico that you can go somewhere and pay them money to water fast you. I think it's a hilarious concept, but kind of brilliant at the same time. Sorry, I keep hitting it. But they're there to, coach you through it, and getting massages and acupuncture and reflexology and processing your emotions and helping you know when you break it. because that is important. So if I am going to take any patients through something like this, you know, you having a coach is really good to know, you know, you're testing ketones or testing blood glucose, you're with blood, you know how to do all this kind of stuff. So, something I would used to do, I don't know if I'll add this in, is you don't have to with water fasting, but somebody has talked about bio coffee or whatever. I love a coffee enema. So you can upgrade when you're doing water fasting by doing coffee enemas at home. You can also go get some colonics if you want, but it's sometimes a little bit, you know, more invasive. But you can do a lot of the stuff just at home, and that'll help really flush out your liver and increases your glutathione like crazy. It's really a liver cleanse. It's not a colon cleanse at all. So I might throw some of those into my body because the caffeine going into my liver doesn't hit your brain the same way, but you do get a little bit of a hit. So it might be a way I cheat. Do coffee up the butt, then in mouth, you know. But coffee enemas rule. You want to know how to do them? Google, how do I do a coffee enema? Okay? Because I'm not going to be able to type all the answers. Google how to do a coffee enema. I should start running workshops on it because I tell people to do them all the time, and I do have to explain it at my office. I have even had my patients say, here's the thing, can I just pay you to do it? I'm like, no, boo, I can't come to your house and give your kids coffee enemas. You're going to have to do this yourself. Really, I'm not doing it. So there's that. So that's something you can kind of do. Yes, Dave, drpompa.com. But you go to his Facebook page, David, and it's on my page, but I'll post a little link in here. So I think this is kind of fun. He's doing it. I was like, oh, totally, let me do it. But that's what it is. So if some of you have never heard of it, this is the big thing. And if you're dealing with any metabolic problem, like diabetes, metabolic syndrome, PCOS, or Alzheimer's, cancer, really look into cellular flexibility, look into water fasting, look into ketogenic diets, look into keto adaptation. These are all things that I really think are important for people's health. Again, this is a normal part of living. Humans have been going through water fasting for millions of years. This is not some newly created thing. We're just like, oh, it's like grounding and earthing. The idea of walking barefoot on the earth is a magical thing. It is magical. People have been doing it for millions of years until shoes were created. People are still doing it. There's many reasons that Kenyans come over and kick our ass in every marathon on earth. Part of it is they all run barefoot because shoes are an abomination. You're not supposed to wear shoes, right? So anyway, fasting is the same way. The summer is all about a feast. There's a lot of food around, and there's a lot of fruits and vegetables, things that grow, and you can find them. And then winter comes, and most places on earth, it goes away, and you have all the dried stuff, which is all protein and fat, by the way. That's what the people would have stored, salted and stuff down. And you go on that. So you're eating less and less and less. You're getting leaner and leaner and leaner throughout the winter. And then in the spring, there's this period right before, the end of winter and the beginning of anything really growing where there was nothing. You kind of ran out of the stuff. The cave was like, oh, damn, shit. We don't have any food this tight. And you're only going to save it for who really needs it, the little ones or whatever. So that's when everybody got really lean. They came out of the cave, a wolf, everybody, they come out, you're lean, you're ripped, right? You come out. So there was fasting naturally until there was food growing and you could start to hunt. There was a period where there just wasn't any food. And then big spring and heat and summer, that's the fattening up stage. You fatten up to deal with the cold and the famine that's about to come. Well, we've flipped the whole thing, because we've controlled our environment so much. Everybody gets fat all winter, right? All fall and winter is about getting fat. Eat. Everybody gains 15, 20 pounds. And then goes into the summer, like, oh God, let me start starving myself because I need to go on a crash diet to get into my bathing suit and to get bikini ready. Suddenly, it's completely opposite of how you are designed to be. It's so deranged. It's so, no wonder our bodies are so confused. No wonder our bodies keep getting sicker and sicker. No wonder there's just constant inflammation, which just really means chaos in communication. People think their bodies are failing. Their body is not failing you. You are failing it. You are not letting it live as it's supposed to live. It's completely opposite. So, you know, I just say start looking at what makes sense. You look at everybody, like all the Inuits, so what we call an Eskimo. So everybody like really north, there's all these tribes that live, it's cold. They never ate a mango. They never ate an apple. They never ate a berry. That doesn't exist. You're not coming across a hive of honey, right? They don't eat really a vegetable. They might have an occasional root. You really don't need fruits and vegetables the way you think you need them. They had a bunch of seafood, occasional land mammal, and they boiled all of that stuff down, everything, they ate it all, and boiled those bones down, and they drank that bone broth. That's where they got all their minerals, because the most mineral rich anything on earth is a bone, not your lettuce, not your arugula. And I'm not saying not to eat those things, but just know that you don't actually need those foods. Some of you, bone broth fasting might be a really good place to start too. So you can make your own bone broth. You can do bone broth protein. Again, you're not exactly going to get all the same autophagy and apoptosis and stem cell responses, but you certainly are going to have glucose and insulin improvement. You'll have blood sugar improvement. Of course, there's weight loss that happens, inflammation. I know many people, like this is the only time they've just kind of discovered, like this is when their pain stops. So for fibro people or some chronic pain disorders, it's like oh my God, this is the only time I don't have pain, is this. And then we discover, obviously, a big part of that is big leaky gut syndrome. This is one of the best ways to heal leaky gut as well. So using water fasting as a part of our protocol of knowing when to do that in the mix is really awesome. So anyway, I talked way too long. Have any more questions? Because I think, sinus infection. Melinda, I would have to say you really kind of need to talk to your doctor about that one. I really can't kind of give medical advice. I would say for myself, typically when you're sick with an infection, your body naturally fasts, and that's for a reason, because it knows, don't eat. This is the last thing you need to do, is give me food that I have to turn all my resources into digesting and assimilating. It can stop all. That's why people don't want to eat when they're sick, and they shouldn't eat. Just getting fluids in, maybe even with minerals with broth is important. So it's really kind of, that has to be your call. But again, typically when the body has an infection, it always naturally knows, don't eat, because that doesn't help. And the body, all the resources go into cleaning. That's why getting a fever is so amazing. You don't want to eat then, and you don't want to put that fever down, because it's not only dealing with that current sinus infection, it's going in and doing major autophagy and cleaning out stuff that, other bad things that are happening. It's breaking it all down. So it's up to you. Melinda, maybe you follow along in the group and you just learn, and you can prepare and do another time. You certainly don't need to do it in a group. I've never done it in a group. It's not, it's been my first time doing it that way. So, it's kind of cool. I don't think, let me see. Blah, blah. Oh, for some of the stem cell stuff, you have to research yourself on, umbilical cord versus self. That's, other countries are doing a lot of different things. So Google's your best friend. I'm not a stem cell expert, but let's see. I think that's it, unless there's any more questions, guys. Oh, you can see my thumb when I do that. Sorry. That's it. So that's why I'm doing it. You can go to the page, check it out. I'll probably post every day. I do anticipate this might be one of my hardest ones, just because of the caffeine and the time change situation. And I'm going to be trying to reset my clock and forcing myself to wake up early tomorrow and the next day. And, I got to cook for my kid constantly. That's what I have to think as a parent. Yeah, I've avoided it because I'm like, I still got to feed him all the time. I still have to deal with it. So it can be a little bit harder for parents, but such is life, you know. It's not a big deal. And, you know, for the emotion, again, if you're scared to do it, don't do it. That's, you know, it's not a, anyone's better than, I'm not better than anybody because I do this, or I'm going to do this. It's just, I think it's a powerful healing device. It's a tool. If you don't know about it, you should start to learn about it. You can take control of your health. You don't need to be so dependent upon all these other people. You're going to need some of us from time to time, absolutely. My job is to teach you, right? Doctor actually means teacher. Doesn't mean hold your hand and solve all your problems. It means teach you. I want to empower you. And I go through these things myself. I have to teach myself. I have to empower myself. Know thyself. Doctor, heal thyself. This is really, you know, intense stuff that we all go through. Typically somebody who's in an alternative field such as me, we're here because some shit happened to us. And then some doctor like this changed our lives. And we said, I gotta do this. It's really usually a calling. It's usually a vocation. It's not, nobody, unless you grow up in a family of chiropractors, says, oh, I want to go to be a chiropractor. I want to be attacked by everybody. I want to be called a quack. Yay! You know, like, trust me, you aren't sitting around thinking about doing this. It's a passion, and you got to go for it. So, you know, anyway, that's it. I'll post a link, and if you want to check it out, join us. Or just, I'll do a little video on it every day, you know, but it's a great way to upgrade your health. And some people might see it as a personal challenge. Everyone's doing Tough Mudders and all this other stuff. I have a lot of different opinions about that, but those are really dangerous and really damaging, I'll say that. And, you know, the age group of like 35 to 45, that's their number one activity is triathlons. And then the Tough Mudders and Spartan races and all these different things. The inflammation rate through the roof, injury rates through the roof. And I get it. It's like this challenge, you know, whatever. I say, why don't we start doing like, not a Tough Mudders, but like, I don't know, David, we should come up with meditation. 40 days of meditation. Like everybody wants to like kick people's asses and like climb through electrocution fences and mud. Why? Y'all can't even count your breath for 10 seconds. You know what I mean? Let's go with some now. Let's do like 40 days of chanting. Like that's a Tough Mudder. Be with yourself in silence for 30 minutes every day. That's some badass, right? That's badass. I don't need to climb through electrocution wires. I'm from Detroit. I'm done with barbed wire. Good night, everybody.